presents its own unique challenges. Whether it's patient care related or extreme weather conditions such as a hurricane, our dedicated team members step up to the plate time and again to serve our communities. Despite our battle with coronavirus, we continue construction on the master renovation and expansion project on our Brunswick campus. We brought a new wound care center, innovative knee replacement surgery, and pulmonary testing to our Camden campus, and added new providers to many of our physician practices. Quality of care can't be compromised even during a pandemic. The challenges of today were unprecedented, and I am proud of the strides we've made toward a better and healthier tomorrow.
During the last year and a half with COVID and getting ready and the preparations, a lot has changed. We went from at first just, wearing the mask, trying to make sure we had enough supplies, making a few rooms here and there negative pressure so that we could keep the negative flow going to keep the COVID out from the rest of the hospital, to now having almost every room in the hospital being negative pressure rooms. Here with our respiratory department only having 3 ventilators to now having 17. We've had ventilators given to us by the state. We have ones that we've rented, so we've all had to accommodate and get new equipment as we go along. Same with BiPAPs and high flows that we're putting these patients on. Luckily, I have a great staff. Everybody has stepped up. We're getting some agency help, so a little along the way, we're getting more and more. It's been hard. There's a lot of times where people have felt defeated. But as one nurse said this morning, we had a win, we had a victory. We got a COVID patient off the ventilator yesterday. And so that is just, we hold on to those wins and knowing that we've done everything we can for every patient.
When we first learned of COVID, it was fear of the unknown. We had no idea how this would affect any of us or our patients. It was being thrown into something that's relatively unknown for healthcare, and so we learned as we treated patients. We dealt with the PPE, no visitors, which was a big thing. You don't want to be in the hospital by yourself, but because of COVID, we had to be. The masking, it's hard. They can't hear us. A lot of them read lips. We don't understand what they're saying, so that was hard. We were a little afraid to go into the rooms, but these are patients that need our care, so we learned to put the PPE on, keep it on at all times, and dig in. And the staff they are just amazing. Anything we ask, they do. I am in awe of ICU nurses and COVID nurses. I don't know how they do what they do day in and day out. The community was amazing. We'd be in the middle of something awful, and all of a sudden we'd have this wonderful dinner brought in by a restaurant that said, hey, we're not open, but can we cook for you? And we had meals, we had cupcakes, ice cream in the middle of the afternoon. The community was amazing. I think one of the things that got us the most is one of the classes over at one of the elementary schools, I'm not sure which one, we've got a big book of them back there, made cards for us. I think they were second graders, and about us being heroes. We're not heroes. We were just trying to get through it as best we could, and that was so heartwarming that they were praying for us, and it was amazing. That made us feel really good.
The laboratory is the most fundamental department in the entire hospital. The vast majority of medical decisions made in this institution arise from the laboratory. So when COVID-19 came, and I can remember the exact date, it was March the 10th, the laboratory continued to play a very fundamental role in its treatment. The lab turned on a dime. We brought in COVID-19 testing in-house. The availability of accurate results locally was a tremendous step forward because it meant we didn't have to wait for days to make medical decisions concerning these patients. We would now know quickly, does this patient have COVID-19 or not? I think it's important to appreciate that just as the lab has always done, this lab and our pathologists, we adapted, we took the resources that we had and we turned out phenomenal results.
When the vaccine back in December and January became new, and we were able to start giving it to our team members and to patients, we didn't have enough supply to meet the demand. So the early challenges were trying to figure out how to strategize who gets the vaccine first, how to prioritize, and how to get patients here to the health system so we could vaccinate as many as possible. The CDC came out with certain guidelines, so we were able to start with our healthcare workers first, but then it quickly became 65 and older. So we were able to reach out to those people with chronic conditions from our pulmonary practice, our cardiology practice, and oncology practices to get them vaccinated first. And our team worked above and beyond, so they're working weekends, they're working evenings for months in a row with no break, and everyone was eager to do it because they knew what an impact they were making to the community. Down in Camden, at the Camden Rec Center, and we were able to get the gym there, and we did 800 patients a day. One day we actually did 1,400 patients a day. So we could not have done that without our partners in the Camden community. Here in Brunswick, we have a bigger space at the hospital, so we were able to do 500 or 600 a day, 3 days a week, plus long hours on Saturday as well, to vaccinate as many people in as short amount of time as we could. This was a very daunting thing to take on. It has been the most rewarding experience to be involved in.
Well, there were several facets of the construction project, really 4 different areas we focused on. We were emergency care services, surgical services, inpatient areas, and our behind-the-scenes infrastructure. I would say for a project of this size, things have gone relatively smooth. That said, anytime you're dealing with something like this, there's all kinds of challenges that must be overcome. I like to use the term speed bumps and not roadblocks. But for example, obviously when COVID came out, the national pandemic, there's supply chain issues nationally. Our construction firm, Robinson Morton, as well as our internal supply chain and internal medical equipment buyers, they've done just an absolutely fantastic job of managing the pandemic and the national supply chain issues to ensure that our overall schedule wasn't affected. Throughout the course of construction, we did have to make minor adjustments. For example, when the pandemic came, we knew that we needed inpatient beds sooner than later, and we were able to make adjustments to the emergency care center, the surgical services, and the inpatient tower to put the focus on the inpatient tower and bring those beds in about 3 months ahead of schedule. We were originally planning to open the patient floor in November, and we actually opened it in September. Another challenge associated with a project of this size is we were renovating occupied space, and all of those require utility shutdowns. So we literally had 100+ utility shutdowns of varying scales. But of all the shutdowns that we had to manage, we had a very collaborative approach between construction facilities and our nursing and clinical leaders, and we were able to manage those with no impact to patient care. Just extremely happy and extremely proud of the team that worked on this project, from our facilities people to our nursing and clinical leaders who were involved in every step along the way. I can't say enough good things about the surgical service, the inpatient and the emergency care center leaders that helped us pull this project off, because while we're actually doing the actual construction work, they're the ones that are impacted every day by our activities, and I'm just very blessed and very thankful to be a part of that team.
In November of 2017, the Certificate of Need was approved for the master facility renovation and expansion here at the health system. The foundation board and team gathered and recognized right away the need to assist and help. The total cost of the project was going to be somewhere between 130 to 140 million. So we created and came up with the 2020 Vision Campaign. It is the first ever capital campaign the foundation has launched, and we established a pretty aggressive goal of $8 million, to which the foundation board agreed to contribute $4 million, and then we would match and raise the additional $4 million. We were also working behind the scenes with the trust committee at Regions Bank to try and acquire $4.7 million from the Thomas and Mildred Beach Trust. And after a presentation and their desire and interest to help contribute to the emergency care center, they agreed to donate and contribute the $4.7 million. Our donors consisted of not just community members, but our donors are our physicians, our team members. The wonderful ladies, for example, in medical records jumped in and contributed. We received countless donations internally, and then the campaign was taken to the outside and to the external community. And our friends of the foundation spearheaded and led, the path and contributed not once but twice, and then came back again in the midst of COVID and gave another contribution. So the response has been absolutely incredible. Our health system volunteer services, what an amazing group. They initially gave $500,000 to the campaign and committed that, and then as we approached the finish line and we were $50,000 short of the $8 million goal, they met and agreed and unanimously voted to help us finish and complete the campaign, and they gave us a final gift of $50,000. So this foundation is who it is because of the people that support us, and because of that, we're able to take care of our patients and their families.
The original space that we had, we had 23 beds, including some hallway beds, and it was very tight, and it was built several years ago, and it was not actually built for the population that we have currently in Brunswick and Simon Island. So there were so many challenges that during that time we had to deal with it, but fortunately now we have a new ER and we don't have to deal with that problem anymore. And what this ER has done is increase our safety, increase our security, increase our how fast we can take care of the stroke and trauma patients that they just bring them in. We have 3 trauma rooms right now, 2 designated for adult, 1 for pediatrics. X-ray and the CAT scan very close to our trauma bay. So basically, when the ambulance comes there, in the case of stroke or trauma, time is an essence, so we can just roll them into the CAT scan. We have multiple portable X-ray machines that now, because we have more space, we can have them here. So definitely that helps us that we did not have that with the old ED, so it will help us take care of the patient.
In the last year, we've kept more patients, we've grown our endoscopy services, and we're able to keep more patients here at home. And for the Camden community, that is so beneficial. We went ahead and moved forward with the robotic surgery. We introduced that to the campus, and we've had great success with that thus far. We also added pulmonary function testing. We had that already, but we have a more modern setup now. And in the post-COVID era, that's going to be very useful to look at long-term effects on the lungs. Also, we have the Wound Care Center, which was open last year, and they've continued to serve our community well. The pulmonary function testing, what that does is it allows you to check what the lung capacity is and if there's long-term damage to the lungs. Additionally, the equipment that we have is much less claustrophobic than what we did have. It's a big open-air box with glass so you can see outside. It's great for kids too, because you can have your children in there, and before, they used to have to go down to Wolfson's and have this type of testing, and now we have a pulmonary doctor that will read the children's tests. So it really is serving us well. I feel like we've come together as a leadership team and puts the patient at the center of everything we do. So I couldn't be more excited.
This past year, we worked with Healogics Incorporated to open an outpatient wound care center on our Camden campus, similar to the one we've operated in Brunswick for several years. We chose to partner with Healogics again because of the positive patient outcomes we experienced and the fact that they are the largest provider of hospital-based wound care services in the nation. Our centers offer specialized care for the treatment of chronic non-healing wounds. The treatment plans are customized based on patient needs and, in addition to standard treatments, may include bioengineered skin substitutes, offloading boots, and sometimes hyperbaric oxygen therapy, or HBO, for more severe wounds. During HBO treatments, patients lie in clear pressurized chambers and breathe increased amounts of 100% oxygen. This has been shown to help fight bacteria and enhance wound healing. We were fortunate to receive funding from the Georgia Heart Tax Credit Program to help construct the center. Georgia Heart allows taxpayers to redirect their Georgia state tax payments to benefit hospitals in our rural communities. Prior to opening the center, patients had to travel to Brunswick or Jacksonville for specialized wound care, or worse, may not have received the needed care at all because of transportation problems. Opening the center allowed us to standardize the wound care at our hospitals and expand the list of advanced treatments and services we provide in our Camden community.
We now can take care and offer advanced wound care to the population in Camden County, whereas before, if they received that kind of care, they would have to drive at least an hour away to get that service. Now it's here in their own home county. Here at the Wound Center, we take care of chronic stalled wounds that many times have been present for months or even years without healing. And because each of the doctors that work here have had advanced training in wound healing, we are able to offer a comprehensive array of different modalities, which include hyperbaric oxygen, negative pressure wound care, skin substitutes, total contact casting, and of course the usual wound care modalities of debridement, antibiotics, and so forth.
Over the past year, we've faced and overcome unprecedented challenges. Thank you to our team members for your dedication, and thank you to our communities for your support. It's a privilege to serve you and the healthcare needs of your loved ones. With determination and hope, we look forward to a brighter, healthier 2022.